Is this thing on? Welcome to Rebooted the Podcast. I'm your host, Alida Hernandez. Come join me weekly to hear about my journey from recovery to healing after having a stroke and other life challenges. So let's get talking. Hi everybody, Alida Hernandez here, Rebooted the Podcast. How is everybody today on a Tuesday? As you can see, I have a very special guest right next to me. I figured might as well just start out right away with my guest. So this is Jcee Colon. He is the leader of Zalsa En Control Orchestra. He is also the CEO of En Control Productions, an entertainment company, does event productions, as well as hosting Genesis Salsa Fridays, and also my man. So, so you know that, okay? Hi, honey. How are you?
How you doing? Thanks for having me again.
Again, yes. He's my partner in crime. Doing good things, not
always. So
today we were talking about growing up Latino. So we both grew up in New York City. Jcee grew up partially. He was born in Puerto Rico. I was born in New York City. But we were born in the same year, 1965, and we were both, unbelievably, we found out, 5 years ago when we got together, we went to go visit our family in Puerto Rico. So my family, most of them are in Gurabo, and we went to go visit his family in another town and found out that his aunt and some family members lived in the same town that my family was from. And actually his cousins went to school with my cousins. Okay. Course. I mean, just surreal, right?
Well, all this conversation sparked up when we first started, getting to know each other. And I'm like, where's your family from? From Gurabo. I'm like, get out. Gurabo, really? What are the chances, right? Mm-hmm. And then we also grew up, I grew up in a different part of the city, New York, and Alida grew up in the other side of town, like they say, people from that body will say, oh yeah, they're from the other
like
side.
The song from Billy
the
Joel.
Girl, there you go.
Jcee grew up in the city, in Manhattan, in Hell's Kitchen, right?
Hell's Kitchen, at the barrio, New York, and part of the Bronx.
And I mean, I was born in Manhattan, but then we went to Jackson Heights, Queens, back in the 70s, and it was very different cultural wise when I grew up there compared to now. And then I went to Flushing. So I didn't realize that, where you live, your environment, when you're young, it makes you who you are and your influences. So I didn't have a lot of really Puerto Rican friends because I was growing up in more, I have to say it, more Anglo, Irish, Italian, just all around American neighborhood versus you were growing up in the Latin. You were in el barrio, which means like why would you say barrio?
Let's call it, I don't want to call it the hood, but it's more of where the Puerto Ricans gather. I had a whole bunch of friends. I had black friends, I had Italian friends, I had Puerto Rican friends. Yeah. Even Chinese friends, okay?
We have friends from every culture.
We have friends from every culture. We all got along. We all listened to almost the same type of music because we were all in the barrio. Barrio was all about, it was about salsa, it was about freestyle, it was about hip hop.
So that's one thing we really want to talk about was music. So one of the big things that made us who we are today is music. When we grew up, there was no internet, there was no cell phone, okay, like you have now. There was no, gaming, things like that. Yeah, we had gaming. We had a pinball machine at the bowling alley. So if you wanted to play an arcade game, they called it an arcade game because that's the only place you can get them.
The bodega. You go to the bodega.
The bodega is the corner store. The bodega is the corner store in New York. So when you want something, you go, I'm going to the bodega downstairs because there was some Puerto Rican man who owned the store downstairs because the Puerto Ricans migrated over in the 60s, in the 50s, more. Like my family came over in the 40s, right? But what I was reading up, they came more in the 50s. And you know why? Because they had airplanes then. See, my mother came over in a boat. She was on a boat for a month to go from Puerto Rico to New York City. Meanwhile, it's a 2.5 hour flight right now. And it took her a month by boat to get there. And then once the airplanes, more people came over because there was over 1 million people that migrated over from Puerto Rico.
You remember what they used to call that back in the day?
What?
When we were in Puerto Rico and you had the opportunity to go to New York, they used to call it, vamos para allá afuera. That's what they used to call it, vamos para allá afuera. Let's go out, we're going out there.
We're going out there like it was.
Translation.
Yeah, because you had to cross the river. You had to cross the ocean.
It was a kind of cool thing. I mean, I was born in Puerto Rico. Then I was brought to New York at an early age. I mean, I started kindergarten, first grade, et cetera, et cetera. Then I went to Puerto Rico again when I was 10 years old. And, and from 10 to 15, I mean, that was my experience mostly in Puerto Rico.
Did you speak English or Spanish when you got to school for the first time in
Well,
Europe?
I already.
Because you were born in Puerto Rico.
I was born in Puerto Rico, but I was born like within a year. I was in New York already, and then I was back and forward.
Oh, okay. So you had both
languages.
languages.
But when I went to kindergarten, we already knew the language, the English, the Spanish, and the broken Spanish in the house, and then you had the English. So that's what it is. Puerto Rico. People from Puerto Rico bring their cultures, the way they speak the language. They bring it to wherever they live, whether it's Massachusetts, whether it's New York.
Right. You simulate. We simulate.
We simulate everything that's from Puerto Rico.
That's what
Spanglish. Custom.
That's what Spanglish comes from. Spanglish is English and Spanish mixed together, due to the fact that when the United States took over Puerto Rico, they took over the school system. They took over. I mean, partially the government. They have their own government, but it goes under the United States rules. So it's under their instructions, their guideline. So the school system was brought all to English. So can you imagine that when they took over Puerto Rico, all the schools, of course, were all 100% Spanish. Well, they took out all the Spanish books and they put English books in there. So everybody who spoke Spanish, now they had all the books in English. Until this day, right now, there are classes that are taught. The books are 100% English, and it might teach the class in Spanish, but the books are still in English because it's a bilingual country or island. Sorry, island.
Let's talk more about the having fun. I mean, the times in New York. You grew in the other side of town, like I say. I grew up in the barrio. That's where all the hip hop was starting. The freestyle came out in the 80s. Salsa was always there. Salsa became really big in New York in the 70s.
Right.
All Stars, Imael Miranda. In Puerto Rico, it was Imael Rivera. All the big stars.
It was we were talking about this at home that everybody's seen. They did the remake of West Side Story. Okay, so I mean, it's kind of a cliche West Side Story, but it's true because it was like uptown, downtown. And it talks about, actually, my mother's cousins were in the movie West Side Story. They were the little kids in the playground back, and so I can still see them. Cookie and Carmen, I forgot who they are, the ones that were there. They were all in the playground. But anyway, West Side Story is kind of a typical thing about. It's just a culture. People are afraid of the different culture. Like, oh, they speak Spanish. What is Spanish? Like, a lot of people didn't know what the language was. And I was asking if you spoke English or Spanish when you went to school, because when I was a little girl, in my household, we spoke Spanish. So they figure when I go to school, I'm going to learn all the English I'm going to ever need. So while we're home, keep the language. We spoke Spanish. My grandparents were there, and we lived with my grandparents later on when I was about 7. And I learned English with Sesame Street. Okay, Sesame Street at that time were already one of the two. I don't remember the name. The Puerto Rican couple that was in Sesame Street. They were there till like the other day.
I don't remember.
They were there for the longest time, for the last 50 years. Okay, and I remember they would do things bilingual. So they would show the pictures, and so I would learn my ABCs and my English through there.
Right, but see, in my case was that my mother didn't know the language. It was all Spanish. At that time, growing up with my stepfather, it was all Spanish. So when you came to the house, it was all Spanish. Hola, mami.
Right.
¿Qué estaba haciendo, mijo? Or whatever, But then once we leave that door, outside in the streets, anywhere you went, it was all English. But that was good, man, because we had both schools,
Right.
Spanish and English. I talk a lot of Spanglish to a lot of my friends,
He doesn't even realize it. A lot of times, Jcee will say something, and I'm like, do you know that you just said 3 words in Spanish, 2 in English, and then another one in Spanish? Like, yes. It just flows, through. So it just flows. Oh, my.
You get the point.
And now they last. What did you say?
Exactly.
So, talking back about music, because I want to get to our music. Music was really important in our life. So we talked about disco came out in the 70s. Disco was big in the 70s. We were kids. We were young kids in the 70s. We loved the music, but we couldn't enjoy it as much going to the clubs until the 80s when we were old enough. And then the 80s, it was freestyle and disco. So the disco was still going, freestyle. Salsa was still going. Salsa started in the 50s.
as well, right?
Discos was 70s, freestyle 80s.
And salsa was the 70s.
Right. Well, salsa's been around,
It's been around for even longer than that.
From the 50s and the 60s, from the influx of everybody
when it really
coming.
picked up.
Right.
Really picked up.
So we were talking about how when we were growing up, so I said no internet, no phones. Our entertainment was going to the club, going roller skating. Oh my God, roller skating was
Remember
the thing.
those days?
Disco roller skating. Roller skating with 4 wheels. Okay, not roller blades. It's a little different. So we used to we had competitions at the roller skating ring. We would get together. So the ring was all wood. It was round, right? And in the center of the roller skating ring was the dance floor, the concession stand, and little tables, the arcade, the pinball machines, and whatever else, right? And then the DJ was in the middle.
Correct.
And then everything else was around, so you would go around.
Not every roller skating
but
ring
similar,
was set up, but
similar
yeah.
to that.
So anyway, talking about the different sides of town. So what roller skating rinks did you take that you went to in those days?
I used to go to USA roller skating, which was in Jackson Heights on Roosevelt Avenue and like 72nd Street.
It's a nice place.
And then I used to go to, there was a roller skating ring at Flushing Meadow Park.
Okay.
Long time ago. It stayed open, but then it closed. I don't know. It's like back in the early 80s it closed. I don't remember the name of it. And then I've been to Roxy.
Okay.
Roxy, there was one in the city.
Roxy's was one of the ones that was.
But
in
I didn't
Manhattan.
go much in the city. So I remember I told you.
That's why we're from this side.
Right.
That's
So
why
remember I
we're
told
closer.
you. So it's funny because you were in the city. So all the city boys we used to call them the city boys would come into Queens. So at the USA in Jackson Heights, we had the New York City boys, the crew as they call them. They used to. I guess they were like gangs. I don't know. I didn't know the difference. I was young.
Just having a good time.
I was naive. I didn't know what a crew was. I didn't know there was like a little gangy thing, you know. I wasn't involved in that stuff. I went to private Catholic school, so they try to keep me straight edge. I don't know about that. But
my 2 favorite places was in the Bronx. It was Roller World on Elder Avenue, the number 6 train, you can see it right there. And on Rosedale Avenue, they have skating palace. So those are the 2 spots that we used to go. If me and my crew would ever go anywhere else, we would go to compete. So we would go to USA and try to clean house over there.
And they were breakdancing. You come over to breakdance, right?
Breakdancing. Yep. Those were the days that I used to breakdance as well. You know, my high school gymnastics, combination of both, you know. So those are the good days. And the up-rock days were even before breakdancing days. But I mean, to me, it was clean fun. You know, there's always a couple of clowns that want to mess everything up, and you know, there's always a couple of guys that are doing the wrong thing. But basically, I had a good time. I mean, I came from the time that we had the house parties. All right, you didn't need no clubs in those days. You had houses. You're going to this house this week. This next week we're gonna do it in such and such's house. If not, we went to the block parties. There were block parties all over the city.
And then when we went to Puerto Rico, we grew up in 2 worlds. We grew up in New York City, at least, you know, myself, when I was young. I was in the city, right? I grew up with buildings and everything. Then when my parents got divorced and about 7 or 8 years old, I started going to Puerto Rico every year for 3 months out of the year, and I was in the country. Little did I know that Jcee's family was literally up the street from my house, from my aunt's house. I'm telling you, we went to drive to Gurabo, and there's a fork in the road, right? So or a V, really, a V.
Right.
His aunt's on the right side, my uncle's on the left side, literally. Like you have to be in the middle road.
Well, my family's more towards the hills.
Yeah, but we're on this side.
But it was more towards the hills. Salada, it's more down.
Roberto, I'm talking about.
Okay, that was around the same area, but going up. But we were further up.
Right.
Like really further up. Like you can probably see 4 or 5 cities from up there, from that peak. And you can see like 5 towns, and then you can see the airplanes landing.
It's about 3,000 square feet up.
It's a lot.
Maybe.
It's a lot.
It's high. It's up in the mountain. But it was beautiful. It was great to have the both worlds. I had the farm. So Jcee laughs at me because, or a lot of my friends, they like, what are you doing? So because I grew up city country, I love fresh fruit. I love going to pick things off trees and stuff. So I walk every day. I try to walk every day. Can't say every day, but I try to. And as I go through the towns, I walk through Boca. There's mango trees, there's lemon trees, there's coconut trees.
Aguacate.
I found an avocado tree. I'm in love. I'm watching it every day now. I'm waiting for the avocados to be ready. And so now I go out with an empty backpack, and I'm walking, because last time I found 3 mangoes. They were like this big, and it was like 3 pounds of mangoes, and I had to walk a mile back. That's how crazy I am. A mile back with 3 mangoes to bring to the family. Like, I can't buy them, right? But because of so we used to have music in Puerto Rico. We had
all the time.
What we call, I learned how to dance salsa. I didn't even know what salsa was. I just knew that was Puerto Rican music. Really.
Listen,
when I was a kid.
When I was over there, at the same time you was over there, because we were there, we just didn't know each other.
Right.
But exactly. I'm sure I crossed your path in el pueblo de Gurabo, in the town of Gurabo.
Small town, yeah.
I bet you we at 13, 14 years old, we crossed each other's path on a vacation, because that's when I used to go to Gurabo. I used to live in Toalta, so after school was over, they used to send me with all my cousins. I had a whole bunch of family up there in the mountains, and we had some great times.
Oh, yeah.
And there was no internet, like you said, no internet, so we had to create our own games. So that's why I say, when I was from 10 to 15, I was in Puerto Rico. I had the best childhood, because even though without no internet, we invented our games.
Oh, yeah.
We used to see American sports. We used to see baseball, Major League, and the best sport in Puerto Rico, which is horse racing, el hipódromo.
A lot of things.
We were poor, but I was happy. I mean, we found things to be mindset happy, and that's the keenness to wellness.
We're always happy. Yeah, I mean, part of our families were poor, right? But we didn't really understand poor, or we knew like other people had a house or a car. Maybe we didn't have one, but we didn't know anything different. It was my friends were all different.
To me, it was still average. I mean, some people had more money than other people. Of course, it's always been throughout the history.
Oh yeah, but we weren't
of everything. But
they didn't raise us to look at people differently
or have what everybody has.
No, but I'm saying, like, for example, my grandmother lived in Puerto Rico. They got a house. They bought a house there, concrete house, when they sold their place in New York. So they had a little bit of money compared to some other people. So when they bought the house there, the neighbor's house was a wood shack, basically with a tin roof, which was really poor. And then over the years, they got concrete walls and everything like that. But I play with those little girls like no big deal.
Did they have zoning? Did you remember they had zoning, like Boca, Pompano Beach?
What zoning?
Like zoning, like you said. You just said
that your grandma. Zoning.
They were saying that your grandmother just had a house, or somebody had a house, right? And then the next one next to it was a little wood house. So I'm saying, so you had people that had a little bit more money, and then you had a poor one in between.
But everything was together.
So I'm saying that that's what I'm saying. There's no zoning like nowadays. Now. You go to Boca, the people with the money, or you go to Pompano, it's okay. So that's what I'm saying, the comparison. It's what you make with the money, or it's what you develop.
It's being proud. Our family was always proudful. But
anyway, it goes down to the music again. I mean, there was no times like they are now. Everything is different now, Just,
that's why we bring our Fridays. So that's going to present. So that's why we bring our Salsa Fridays. So what we've been doing is having a big party, like a house party. Exactly. We're having a Genesis, a venue in Pompano Beach every Friday. And we have a DJ Carlos. Sometimes we'll change the DJ.
Of course.
But right now we have DJ Carlos,
Mr. Orchard Beach.
from New York City. So we have a lot of New Yorkers, Puerto Ricans coming in.
Not a mixed crowd. Everything is beautiful. I mean, everybody's getting along. Everybody's just having a good time. Everybody goes in there with a smile. No, they go with a half a smile, and when they get out later, they come out with a full smile. And everybody's enjoying it. It's $10 to go in. Bring your own bottle. We got the mixers at the bar. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and
it's somewhere to get away and just have a good time with.
And we'll continue talking about that just after of our break with Club Secret.
Let's be honest. When you want this VIP lifestyle 24/7, or at least almost 24/7, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Now there is. Club Secret, the ultimate lifestyle membership. Our VIP global brand is centered around helping people look better, feel better, and experiencing the world. We have proven world-class self-care products to enhance your outer self so you look like a VIP. We have the ultimate premium supplements and plant-based nutrition to give you the cleanest energy to help you go throughout your day so you feel like a VIP. Being a part of Club Secret enables you to experience the world like you never have before through our wholesale booking platform, luxury vacation homes, villas, cruises, and our flagship group curated escapes to the most exciting parts of the world. And we don't stop there. You are a VIP, and we want to make sure you always feel that way. We give you access to memorable experiences with VIP events centered around F1 racing, Wimbledon, Kentucky Derby, the Open, NFL, NBA, NHL, and more. Like VIP packages to the most popular concerts and festivals that we all know and love. Club Secret gives you savings on other lifestyle benefits such as telemedicine to save you time and money, popular retail brand partners, and more. So for less than Starbucks cup of coffee a day, we want you to have the VIP life every day, not just every once in a while. What's in the membership again? You get 30% off all premium product lines, save time and money at telemedicine, having a doctor access 24/7, wholesale hotel booking engine, curated escapes, VIP experiences, brand partner discounts, loyalty points on most things purchased in the community, and more. So if you want to claim your VIP status now in our ultimate lifestyle community, text or direct message the person back immediately that had you watch this video to learn more.
Wow, babe. So Club Secret, it's been amazing, hasn't it been for us?
I've been living it. Let's just say that. I've been living it.
We went to, we booked about 3 hotels already. Orlando, Fort Myers. I went to Houston. I've been to Dallas. And let's see, where else? We went to the Panthers game. We went to the Panthers, one of the playoff games. We got tickets the same day of the game and saved like $75 a ticket. I was like so happy. We were sitting
That's
there,
the Club Secret.
Panthers, right?
And everything we check with Club Secret, whether it's a car rental, whether it's a beauty product, anything, it's like a big Amazon, but it's your own private.
No, remember they said it's like Costco or BJ's membership. You know how you have all these products? It's kind of like that kind of membership.
Right. You have a membership and you go there and you have you get prices, you get everything at a different price at a discount for more.
Yeah, I was just looking at computer because I need to buy a new laptop. Remember, I need to get another laptop. So I'm looking out there, looking at some prices, and I got some good prices. I got up to 30-40% off.
Mostly in everything I do.
A lot of things. So when I get it, I'm going to show it to you guys.
I just went online the other day, like I was telling you, and I was looking for a Mustang 2022 convertible for a day. I went to Enterprise, it was $259 per day. I went to my Club Secret membership to their website, and I got the same car for $125 a day. So this is what we're trying to tell you. We're not just telling you, we live it.
We live it because we use the discounts. We use all the member perks, and they have special Club Secret escapes, which I can't wait. Right now, we're trying to move things around, and just to let you know, I'm going to take a little break. Next week, we're taking downtime. I'll probably do some reels and things like that, but I won't be in the studio. We're working on some major projects, and we have a lot of things that we have to do. And unfortunately, I just can't be next week. But we're trying to plan our trip. So what we want to do is, once we do go on our trip to Punta Cana,
we'll document it.
Dominican Republic.
But we still don't know if it's Punta Cana or Cancun.
I want to go to Punta Cana first,
right,
and then we'll go to Cancun. I haven't been to Cancun yet.
The cruise is next after that.
Oh boy! Okay. Well, we need to have some sitters.
We already got 3 trips. We just haven't planned what.
And I need a vacation.
Anyway, so talking back to the music, let's go before.
Yeah, so we grew up with music. So like my son, who's 22 years old, my younger son, he calls me the other day on Friday. He's like, "Hey, Mom, what are you doing?" I said, "I can't talk to you right now." "Why can't I talk to my mother?" I said, "Because I'm at the club." "What do you mean you're at the club?" So Fridays from 7:30 till about 2:30 in the morning, we're at the club, having a good time with our friends, and it's a mature crowd. You won't believe, but everybody is over 50. Okay, 50 and up, and you wouldn't even know it.
It's the new 30s.
Exactly, because we grew up with music, grew up with dancing, disco, hustle, dancing, salsa, merengue, and all these different stuff. And if you see everybody in there, you won't know who's what age, because everybody is in such good health. And dance is great for wellness. I mean, you sweat. Try to dance salsa for about an hour or two. You are sweating, or any kind of dance that you do. New York,
last night a DJ saved my life. Remember that?
I love that song.
Remember that?
And I don't know about you, but I have music. I can still hear music today that will remind me, oh, I was at that club. Oh, you remember when you were at the Palladium when that song came on, right? Or you were at the roller skating ring, or you met a friend that day.
What about the clubs in those days? I don't know if you remember. You had Roseland, you had the Latin Quarters, you had what? Webster Hall.
Well, that was
Webster Hall?
Yeah, but I didn't go to Webster. I used to go to Palladium before it closed.
She's from the other side of town, I told you.
Well, I used to go to Palladium, and I used to go to the Ritz Club.
All right.
And the Cat Club. And I used to do some of the rock and roll stuff.
I
wasn't really
Copa.
in some.
How can I forget the
Copacabana. Yeah.
All 4 locations I visit. So, I mean, those were the New York days, man. The good days.
So I have to read this quote. It's just so funny. Somebody did. I found this on the internet. I went to Google and said, "Google, what's salsa?" And it came out. Salsa is a Cuban music played with a New York, Puerto Rican freaking attitude. You like that one? I like that one.
That's on Google. Look it up.
That was Google's definition of salsa. I thought it was funny. So, what a New York, Puerto Rican attitude. That's what they used to call us. Like, I say I'm a New Yorican, right? Which is a New Yorker. I was born in New York with parents from Puerto Rico. Because can't say Puerto Rican because I wasn't born in Puerto Rico. But I am a New Yorker, and for some reason they came out with that word. I looked it up, and they said that they came out with the word New Yorican as an insult to us.
Well, it's
because we weren't Puerto Rican, and I'm like,
insult.
I don't care. It's not an insult
because it's still in the blood. It's like 2 Puerto Rican parents come from the island. They have a child in New York City,
right?
And that child is raised in New York City,
in both places.
Life, so no, but most of them are. There's been a lot of situations that none of them have been to the island. I know friends of mine that are in their 50s and they never been to Puerto Rico. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So they're in one direction. I've been blessed.
I'm rare.
I've been blessed to have both cultures.
Me too.
Lo mismo te lo digo en español, and I would tell you in English the same way. You tell me freestyle, I'll get down. You want hip hop, I get down. You want salsa, merengue, I get down with everything.
And rock and roll too. We grew up with all of that.
She's the rocker now.
I'm the rocker. I grew up with Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel and Billy Idol and
the other side of town.
The other side of town. See, I was in the island. I was in Long Island, so I was all with the so-called white boys over the other side of town.
Every time you walk.
So I listened to Whitesnake and to
Me in my side of town, you walk 2 blocks and you see little kids breakdancing in the corner. And then you see you look across the street and you see the guys with the big radios.
Oh yeah.
With a couple of guys right behind, just
You know the original iPod. Remember the iPods? Okay, the original iPod was a stereo about this big.
That's
and back in New York, the Puerto Ricans, right, the New Yorkers over there, they always wanted to be flashy. I'm sorry, Puerto Ricans are flashy anywhere you go. So the bigger the radio, the louder the music. That we're happy, so we walk around with this big boom box.
The crew guy. And we used to skate in the streets too.
Oh yeah, we had different wheels for the streets.
Yeah,
and then
Krypton wheels.
Jcee was a guardian angel too. If you know where the guardian angels were.
I even went through that martial arts. I went through the Guardian Angel Association.
That was
a
the
good thing to do.
Bruce Lee influenced us during the 70s when we used to call them the flicks. The karate flicks would come to the movie theater, and every guy I knew back in the 70s wanted to be Bruce Lee.
Oh, shout out to Cosmo Theater at Barrio, okay? That's where everything happened. They had the Eagle Theater on 103rd Street and 3rd Avenue. Then they had the Cosmo on 116th Street between 3rd and Lex. That was the spot right there.
See, growing up Latino. So growing up Latino in New York City, Puerto Rico. Now we're in South Florida. The whole nother culture out here and simulating and doing our American dream.
That's we're doing a lot of things coming up soon. Own businesses. I got my new track coming out, new video soon. Look me up on YouTube, okay? Orquesta Zalsa En Control. Look at Rebooted the podcast.
And also Nuestro magazine.
This is what we bring to you, okay? That's what being Latino is about. Y echando pa'lante, always forward.
So I hope you have a great week, guys, and I'll see you back soon. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to all my podcast platforms. Download. We're almost up to 12,000 downloads. So thank you. And we're almost at 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So it's amazing. I don't know what's going on, but just keep on doing that.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Stay healthy. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Rebooted the Podcast to learn about each episode's guests and topics. This is your host, Alida Hernandez. See you next Tuesday.